Woo-wee! All right, hang on, people. I have to be technically savvy for half a second and turn on my Instagram, which I did.
It
So,
is. It is
well,
Friday,
well,
people. We're at episode 59, 59. Uh,
damn.
so yeah,
All
we're
right.
getting
So,
there.
I got to jump in because I always got lots to say.
Oh
Welcome to
yeah.
For No Particular Reason with my amazing co-host, Yankov. After 59 episodes, I just learned what his son's name was, so that's cool. And I'm Terry Lewis, and we are here for literally no particular reason, but usually we end up talking about metaphysics, spirituality, lifing, anything that comes to mind. And as we get in, ready to jump on the show, you asked a question and I can't answer it. How'd the bunny and the eggs get involved with Easter? I don't know. Anybody out there know? You want to tell us? Because me and
Yeah,
Yanko have no idea.
exactly. That's exactly my point. I was gonna say, when did Easter become the bunny, and how did we connect the eggs with the bunnies? And uh, yeah, that always throws me off. So
Yeah, I just don't even ask. Like for me, it's just so you were also mentioning Halloween, which hello, I love Halloween because I get to dress up in skulls. I mean, that is my shopping addiction time of year because I can buy more skull stuff. Like, hello. But no, in all seriousness, like I love any opportunity to get together with family and to connect. And there's, for me anyway, no spiritual underpinning around Christmas or Easter but it is a time for me to get together with people I don't often have the opportunity to hang out with and then do something fun. So the past many years, my twin sister puts together citywide scavenger hunt. So we create teams and then we have to drive around the city and find all these things like um we take pictures with random sculptures. We have to do like the Beatles walk in a crosswalk and take a picture. We have to get a random straw from a certain restaurant and then whoever gets home first is the winner. So it's fun. It's a couple of hours of just acting like a kid, which Lord knows anybody who knows me, I can act like a kid all day, every day. But it's nice to do it with people I love.
I gotta tell you, that sounds very exciting, and that's
It's
probably
so
like
fun.
a family thing that you guys came up with, in because I
Well,
don't, I
let's
don't
talk
hear.
about family though. So Ellen and myself created our own families. Like everybody's like family. So, I was just with my best friend Lindsay Height last night. That's my family. I think family is who you choose to be around, who lifts you up, who brightens your day, who shows up in love rather than judgment. And so when we do holidays, it's not this perceived bloodline family. It's anybody who is in my sisters and my space that is coming from a place of love and not expectation or family drama.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, I love
Because
it.
like even with family gatherings, it's not something people enjoy.
Yeah,
I had
I
a,
don't get
I
that.
had I had a friend of mine that called me the other morning, and he was like, "Hey man, what are you doing for Easter?" And I said, "I don't know why." And I'm thinking he's gonna invite me on to the holiday with the family. Then he started to talk about family and how he's not looking forward to it.
Yeah. Talk about conditions and habits. Like people stay stuck in this idea. It's interesting. Who I was just talking to somebody today
Mm.
about how they're tired this week and they have an opportunity to have just one kid instead of their normal two because one of their daughters is going away. But yet, because it's tradition, she's taking on. on another individual. And I was like, you don't have to. And she's like, well, I've done it every year for these. I'm like, just because you've done it don't mean you have to keep doing it. And I think that's, we get so stuck in these patterns of behavior and habits, we never stop to question whether they bring us joy. And for me, if it doesn't feel fun, if it doesn't excite me, if it doesn't bring me joy, I'm not even doing it. Like, I have no reason to show up if it doesn't seem like I'm going to enjoy myself. And that means I'm not going to have holidays with family if I think it's going to be a miserable experience.
Well, isn't that what a holiday is supposed to be? So celebration of something that everybody enjoy. It's not supposed to be a chore or this whole preparation and decorations and doing all those other things. And in the end of it, you just it's kind of like go 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 go, and then you sit, and then the end of it, you're just so tired and you glad that it's over. It's like a chore that you had to do.
Nana has been really good to me about that, since being with him because of course, like I've been conditioned to have these certain expectations and habits, and Nana's like, babe, like Thanksgiving, I'd rather sit on my butt and do nothing. It's like a day where I can kick back, eat, and watch football. He's happy to do so. And that's the thing is, I really truly encourage people to examine why they do things. And if it doesn't bring them joy, stop doing them. Give yourself permission. That is the greatest act of kindness that one can do for themselves. And it is my humble opinion that when we're kind to ourselves, we inevitably extend that kindness towards others.
That's right. Because when
Yeah.
your cup is full, then you can share your joy with other people. If you're happy with yourself, if you're in peace with yourself, if you love yourself, then you can share that with other people.
Yeah.
So
So
that's
I'm
not that's not a surprise.
wait, interestingly enough, it is. It really
But
is.
I'm also feeling in the same kind of thing of conditioning because like I'm gonna cook a certain food that I enjoy eating in Easter, um, with lamb and so not because it's the holiday, but you know, um, kind of thought about it. I was like, I haven't had it in a while, so I'll
You
get
just
that
had
going
lamb
for the
stew.
holiday.
We had this conversation, Yanko, because I
Well,
was like,
no, not the stew. I'm doing something else.
oh, okay. But see, but let's preface the fact that you are cooking something because it brings you joy, not because
That's
you
that's
feel like you
exactly it.
need to
Yep.
do it
Yep.
because it's part of some expectation or family tradition or whatever. I was thinking about
That's it.
this 2 Thanksgivings ago. We have a family tradition of making broccoli casserole, right? And don't get me wrong, I love it, but it's processed crap. Like it has Ritz crackers, Velveeta cheese, which is fake cheese. It's like garbage. And I'm like, why do I keep making this knowing that it's total trash? And it
Knowing
was
that
just
it's
because
trash, yeah.
that's what I did. And I'm like, I could make this recipe so much healthier and probably taste so much better if I stop being a slave to tradition and just do what makes me happier, right? So it's so funny how we get caught up in habits. And that's the thing is I think the human experience is fundamentally belief systems and habits, and then um the ability to experience and examine them and decide whether they continue to serve us.
Yeah. But you're not wrong. Like lately I've been enjoying cooking a lot and I'm experimenting with different recipes and the whole process of learning knife skills, like how to chop something, how to do different and I'm even getting drawn to like a cooking shows where they show you like a different you know different ways to prep food, and maybe that's way to get better relationship with the food that I'm consuming. in
Mm.
everybody else in the family. That's how I look at it, and brings me joy. So
Well, that's exactly it, and why is joy important? Yesterday, Nana and I had my dear friend Al on the show. This man, in the span of 3 weeks, no BS, lost his leg from the knee down and lost his wife unexpectedly last week. And he showed up at a show about joy and was not only able to smile and laugh and like really engage in the conversation with us, but he truly appreciates each moment, even though he's in deep suffering too. And I think that is the reason we're meant to experience joy, what feels right for us in any given moment, because it gives us the opportunity to build that resiliency muscle that when things feel hard, we still know that there is the capacity to lean into cutting up a tomato, even if you've experienced a loss. Um, for me, getting on my phone and singing a random tune that comes from my soul just because, and that's why I encourage people to give themselves permission to experience joy. But 2 days ago, 3 days ago, I had the most it wasn't eye-opening so much as it served as a reminder of how unconscious a lot of people are. So I was talking to an individual who was telling me that they come from affluence, their family's multimillionaires, they make well over six figures, they provide for their children and their spouse, they have the white picket fence, whatever. This individual's telling me, convinced that they're happy, right? Oh, 95% of my time I'm happy, but 5% I'm unhappy because I'm engaged in conflict with my spouse over a certain thing, right? Mind you, this individual has severe health problems. This individual has no real understanding of how to set boundaries or say no. And they really truly believe they're happy. And so and here's this is the thing, Yanko, that like this individual is like, well, I'm here to see if I'm wrong, but I know I'm right. And I said, well, there's no reason to talk to me in the first place. Because if you have already decided that you're right, then there's
right.
nothing that we're gonna
There's nothing, yeah.
that is gonna
This
change
conversation.
your experience. And I straight out told this individual, I said, I don't give a crap. Like, it's no skin off my neck if you do this work or not. If you want to sit in this idea that you're happy, have the fuck at it. I'm over here enjoy. Like, I get to say I'm really, really, like, I know I'm happy. Like, I can say 100% of my life, I love my life, even when I'm in conflict with Nana, even when I'm having a disagreement with a child. And this individual can't say that, and yet they believe that they're happy. And that to me was like, oh, yeah, there's a lot of people out there who still just operate from an unconscious, pre-programmed, this is what I need to do and this is what I'm happy about existence.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking it probably has to do with emotion.
Of
If
course.
you kind of like repress your emotions and you numb yourself up, then you don't feel anything. And when you're not feeling any feelings, then you're not really, um, how can you tell? You know
Yeah,
what I mean? And then the other thing is that I don't know what happy means to be. I mean, happiness is just the definition of something. You
listen.
know what I mean? Everyone has a different definition, and everyone, it's programmed differently. I know what you're gonna say. You're gonna know when you're happy. You're gonna know, but
Well,
like
it's
for a
an
person that,
energy. Like, here's
yeah,
the
for
thing.
the person never been in that situation, say you never experience it. How do you explain to somebody what that is? And and this is why
But you
like a lot
can
of
though,
like
Yanko.
experiences, they can be explained. You just have to go through the experience to be able to understand. And
Exactly.
this is what I wanted to bring up, because like if you haven't experienced something, how would you know? um, And in the same way, I always give that as example. Like if you don't burn yourself, how would you know what burning feels like and what it means to be? Like somebody can explain it to you and be like, oh, maybe the skin will fill up with whatever, depends on the degree of burning, and you're gonna feel pain and all that. But having the experience, it's totally different thing. So if you name yourself to a point where you don't feel anything and you keep on going, and that's your normal state of operation, then yeah, I mean, you'll say I'm happy. How
Well,
would you
that
know?
is why I like to piss people off because it gives them here's the thing, it's a felt experience, right? I can't articulate happy, but you know what I can tell you when I walk in a gym, a lot of people come to me and say hi, are happy to engage with me, ask me questions. I have wonderful connections with a myriad of people. It's because my energy is one that is attractive. Like it's felt. It can't be explained. And, and it's so interesting because this same individual told me how confident they are and how much people like them. And I was like, I bet you, and I said this because I'm me and I keep it real with people. I was like, if we walk in a room side by side with people, you're going to find out real quickly that either the energy in the room meets you, you're unconscious, and they're not going to like me at all because I'm a lot, or they're going to be more inclined to connect with me because my energy, my frequency, it just is lighter. It's open, it's welcoming, it's jovial, it's indescribable, but it's felt.
I was talking more in terms of like somebody that's not in that um, place yet. Somebody that haven't,
Well, of
you
course.
know, like somebody that haven't felt their emotions or detached from emotion long ago and forgot what it feels like to have emotion. Um, and then sensation, it's also connected with that, um, because by sensing your surrounding and everything, you can trigger an emotion, you know, either joyful or not joyful or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's what I was talking about. Like, not everyone it's in that mindset, and it's okay because
Well,
we're
that's why I
all
like
here
to
to
piss
have an
people off,
experience.
Yanko. I'm serious. It sounds cold, but it's not, because here's the thing. If you're in a state of apathy where you're just existing, you're 100% right. Like there's this huge disconnection from mind and body and then your energetic being, right? Um,
Yeah,
if I can piss you off, well, guess what? You just raised your energetic frequency, and anger tends to make people want to take action. They do, even if it's to tell me to go screw myself, right? But here's the thing, for me to get somebody angry with me means that they're also, yes, I mean, they may go back and just be like, Carrie's a total bitch, and that's cool. Or they're going to contemplate what it is I shared with them, and that's planting a seed. And so maybe they don't know what it's like to exactly tap into feelings, but they're going to hopefully consider a different perspective, which is why I always show up and I have 3 shows and I love to have these conversations because it's just giving somebody an opportunity to consider a different point of view and ask themselves how that point of view sits within their own experience.
that's right. Yeah, and it's good because you have to have that. Otherwise, how would you know? and
100%.
and and sometimes I even ask myself when I'm in situation where something happens and I'm not used to it or whatever, then I just go like, okay, let me see where this can go. Like I'm getting curious about the whole thing and wanting to find out.
Yeah.
Like, is it is it something? Can I can I feel it better? Can I do something else, or what's going on? And it usually turns out really good because when you open to opportunities and different things, you're not closing yourself out. Um, it might not even be an opportunity, but if you just experiment in that moment, you don't know how it's going to unfold. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about I'm like, "Ooh, something new. Yay, let's try it." I'm going to see I said to Nana, I was like, "I just love our lives because we have the most sporadic stuff." Like last week we were at a pole dancing expose. Then in May, we're going to see one of our favorite artists ever, Kendrick Lamar. Yay. Anyway, they not like us for anybody who gets a reference. And they ain't like me. Um but then we're going to a heavy metal show, and I'm talking about
Mm.
like the I I said to the singer, I'm
Wow,
like,
that's probably like death metal because there's different
yes.
categories of metal.
But I said to the singer, I'm like, "Dude, I don't even know what you're saying." Like, and don't get me wrong, half the time I listen to rap and I don't know what they're saying either. But Apple iTunes is great because then I can look at the lyrics and then I can learn it. Otherwise, I would have no idea. And in fact, I was at the St. John concert making up my own lyrics because I didn't know what he was saying. But anyway, so we're going from um a metal show to a rap concert to Nana's going to Anime Boston, and I'm sitting in a hotel room for my birthday because I just want to sit in a bathtub and do nothing.
Oh.
And I'm
But
going
that's the
like,
best gift you can give to yourself, though, to have some time for yourself on your birthday. That's a great idea.
well, I mean, on my birthday, I'll be with my babies. I want to celebrate with my favorite people in the world, which is my children. Um,
Okay.
But I do, I mean, I could listen, I'll never forget when I watched the Aaron Rodgers documentary. I think it was on Netflix, and he paid to go in this woods in a shack that is completely black with just a bathtub and a bed. And I'm like, dude, that's my form of heaven. Like, you lock me there for a week and I'll be rejuvenated, ready to take on the world again.
I mean, you have to have time for yourself to recharge, reflect, integrate, have different experiences. And to your point, like we're always changing vibration, and with vibration, we change moods, and we also change preferences and types of music. Like I find myself listen to different types of music, um, and and for some people like myself, music does a lot of work. It puts me in the kind of mood where I can feel it, get things going. You know, so yeah,
Well, something you said that I really, really love is we don't know ourselves. We
exactly,
assume we know ourselves
exactly.
because of the past. But truly, if in this current moment, and this is why, all my potential clients, anybody who asks me, well, how do you work with me? I'm like, well, I encourage you to open up to curiosity. Right? Like lose this expectation, this idea of who you are, how you need to be, what need it needs to look like, who's going to judge you, and just get really curious about how you are experiencing this moment, right? And in that, to your point, learn what you need for yourself in that moment. So going back to this pole dancing expose. So when I am on my period, I'm a cranky bitch. Like I'm hormonal, guys. Like and I shouldn't say bitch, but cuz I'm not. I'm an amazing soul, but like I'm bitchy. So the whole day, I just found myself in these waves of emotion. And then I would regulate and whatever. So after the pole dancing thingy, me and Nana want to go get food, but it was cold. And all of a sudden, I looked at him, and this is why I love Nana, because he doesn't assume he knows me. He just holds space to me. I look at him, I was like, I need to crash out for a minute. He's like, okay. So I like started bawling my eyes out. Boogers come down my face, like I'm a hot mess express for 5 minutes. Like my face is red. And then I'm like, do you have a tissue? He's like, no. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna use your jean jacket. I wipe my face and then I get up. Like, want to go have food now? And we did. And it was fine. It was cool. But here's the thing, and this is where we box ourselves into experiences. Oh, I just had this really great time at this pole dancing exposition where all these incredible people have worked on their craft and done some amazing performances. I shouldn't be feeling overwhelmed or needing to cry. I shouldn't. And then we don't allow ourselves the present moment. And the present moment is all we have. And then guess what? For anybody out there who's even remotely interested, had I not honored myself, I would have trapped that energy in me. And then that manifests in either a further expression of emotions later on when I allowed myself to feel it, and or if I, to your point, am disassociated from my emotions, not tapped into my body, don't really identify with myself, it then becomes trapped energy that presents in mental illness, addiction, and or physical illness, or all three.
Well, I want to bring out a point. Those are all great because, like, I'm on the same page as you. I'm thinking exactly the same way. If you have to process emotion, you got to process it. It doesn't matter if it's feeling a crying or feeling a joy. Sometimes you can cry out of joy. I find
Oh, I do
myself
it
doing
all the
that
time.
too. Like, I am so intoxicated in joy that tears can come out of my eyes because I'm in the moment, and you realizing that this is the moment and it's a fleeting thing that it keeps on, fleeting you. It's going and you're in it, observing how this whole thing goes, and you realizing that it's once in a lifetime thing. You never can have the same moment, and you're just enjoy. Um, the other thing I was gonna bring out is um, claiming your emotions for your emotions. You know, your emotions are not your emotions. There might be something strange, or I'm keep bringing it up the same way your thoughts are not your thoughts because they keep coming and going, kind of like the sun. It's coming and going. In the same way, the body reacts based on maybe a program or memory that you had that triggered that emotion to rise from the body and go through. And the problem comes in when you claim it as emotion and you say, this is my emotion, and you bring up the mind and try to realize it and say, like you were saying, why am I feeling this emotion right now? I shouldn't be feeling this. And you start judging yourself you know, in doing all kinds of crazy things because it is just it is just the body reacting the same way your body reacts to hot and cold. The body reacts, the emotion it's there, it comes up. You can observe it, see it through, and when it's gone, it's gone. It's like anything else. So yeah, um,
I love it.
yeah.
I do. What else you got? Cuz I'm just like sitting here in the zened out mode today. I'm just happy.
I'm kind of the same way, but temperatures are kind of nice out today. Um, this year we haven't had any decent weather, and I'm so looking forward to have some more time in nature. And I had this weird thought or realization. Somebody was talking about the Schumann resonance, and they were connecting it. And this is off topic. This is something
Well,
else.
for the listening audience, share with them what the Schumann resonance is.
Well, the Schumann resonance is the frequency of the Earth, or so-called frequency that has been measured for so many years.
Yep.
And back in time, when we first started to experiment with frequencies and finding out about radio waves, magnetic waves, all those other things. Even way back before um, we were able to manipulate waves with radios, and people were using crystals to measure waves with crystals, because crystals had a crystalline structure that hold a certain frequency. And that also connects really good with people that are into crystals, because they know they have different vibrations, because they crystallize a frequency and it's very stable. Unlike us, where we're going and we're having ups and downs, and we're going through different vibrations based on emotions or experiences that we have. But the point is, many years ago, that frequency was fixed. It was at 7.8 something or 0.8 something. I don't remember what it was exactly. And now in recent times, that's increasing. It's jumping. But for so many years was that fixed, rock solid, that before we had centralized time systems, imagine that, they were using that frequency to align clocks together.
Yeah.
And they had like clock systems on air to synchronize clocks across, vast lands and even continents. And now all of a sudden it's changing. But the point is, you know, they were saying that this was needed because it needed to support our consciousness to a point where our consciousness operates kind of like a computer clock that needs to have a crystal, like previously computers needed to do that, to be able to do certain frequencies and to be able to do what they do. um, but with changing of consciousness, um, that frequency changes. And so the whole thing that I watch alluded that because of AI and expensive consciousness and everybody, opening more to different possibilities and getting to experience different things, that frequency was changing. Um, but the kick that really got me was that for people that were drawn to nature, those were the people that were going back to the original frequency before AI. You see where I'm going with that? That kind of like where it get me was that you can either go with that variation of frequency where your mind will change, if that's even a thing. I just had like an aha moment. But then people that are drawn to nature and everything else still has its own frequency that was the original frequency, and that's why you're drawing off to get out of your house and go in nature and be in that vibration, be of the vibration of nature, be of the vibration of like birds, grass, everything else, which is the original frequency, not the variation of whatever this new frequency is. And so that kind of alluded to different timelines, if people even know what that is, and go that way. But there is a lot of talks about quantum jumps and quantum computing and quantum healing and everything else. So I'm sure some of the viewers will understand. So what are your thoughts about that?
Well, so here's the thing. This is where I always tell people, you and I are different in that I don't study any of that crap. My true north is, am I in joy? And I will tell you, I ground very easily and quickly in nature. Like that's my jam right there.
Yep.
Again, I love a good bathtub, and I can sit in my daughter knows. Like I'll take a shower in the complete dark. Like I love it. But I also absolutely 100% love to just sit by a stream of water, or witness the trees rustling due to the wind, or like I mean that is truly peaceful for me, and that's all I really concern myself about. And I feel, and this is just for me, that the more I try to understand things, the more suffering I impart on myself. Because I am like by nature, my brain is very analytical. Like, and how I grew up, it needs to understand, right? That's my ego. Oh, I need to figure this issue out. I need to understand why the earth is shifting. I need to understand why Mercury in retrograde is screwing up the computers. My spirit is like, you don't need to understand shit. You can
I
just sit
know.
here and be happy. And that's why, like, a lot of times e- even with you, you'll start to explain tech stuff, and I know you notice, like, my brain immediately glosses over. I'm like, I don't give a crap. Like, and it's not that I don't give a crap. It doesn't keep me in joy. So I don't subscribe to that. And that's kind of the lens in which I show up in life. And the other day, a good friend of mine told me about a speaking engagement that they were selected to be part of in Boston on addiction. I'm truly, truly happy for her. I really am. Like, she has worked her butt off to get this. I'm like beyond, right. My ego totally kicked in and was like, oh, I should be able to do that, blah, blah. And then my spirit was like, you don't have to do it. Like, why? Like, that's just like this ridiculous, like,
Exactly.
and it is a habit too, right? Like that, again, I've shared with the listening audience before. I'm fully aware that one of the conditions that I'm still releasing is this idea that I need to compete or that I'm in comparison. And it's just what I grew up with it within my family construct, not good or bad. It's just I witness it. And even my friend was like, "Are you okay? Because you're quiet." And I'm like, "No, I'm just absorbing what you're sharing." And it is true. And in that absorption, I also reconciled, like, I don't have to do anything but be at peace. Like the and in that space, it's just so delectable. And the great thing is everything comes to me. And that's the thing is, interestingly enough, just today I was asked to speak at a summit for women that has 28,000 like members, right? So like this idea that I have to understand is obsolete for me. I just don't give a crap. I just don't. I'm just like, what brings me joy and how do I stay in it? And you
No,
and me
you
have
can
this conversation all the
you
time.
100% when you in the flow and in the joy, you take it to the next joyous thing, and how can you take it to the next joyous thing and you keep going with the flow. You don't need to understand any of that. I was just sharing an experience, like an aha moment of like, okay, this is like, are we like splitting, are we having like a one kind of thing where people are drawing more to the one side, and then people are um, drawing to more towards nature, more towards animals and things like that. It was just kind of like, huh, that's kind of interesting, because I didn't thought about it, but it
Yeah.
just kind of came to me, and I was like, okay.
No, it's so
that's
funny
why I
because
was that's why I was asking you, like, if you were to just have this kind of realization, what you will, think of that, and you're like, no, I'm just in the moment, which is perfect.
well,
you know
this morning I woke up and I was like, wow, I'm just like an energetic light vibration. And I just
yeah.
sat there and like I was like, I don't get it, but I get it, and that's okay. Like it was just the most and then I was like, okay. And I mean, again, for the listening audience who's like, what in the goddamn are they talking about? Like I get it, right? I was very unconscious for many, 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 many years. And that's why I talk a lot. I really work to make it palatable or like understandable. And that's why I just say, what makes you like it's going back full circle? What brings you joy? Right. And if you cannot answer that question, can you at least give yourself permission to seek um moments that might bring you a little bit more I don't know, joy rather than the current experience you're having, or make you feel more alive than the current experience you're having. Because then you'll start to experience that and learn this stuff for yourself.
That's right. Yep. Yep. It's a real thing. But again, if you have an experience and then you won't know, it's not like, um, and every time I say that, I have this like judging thing that comes in and says, kind of like, are you bragging about it? Like you're having more experience than anybody else and all those other things. But that's how it is. It's not like I'm better than anybody else or I'm having a different experience. I'm just more observant of like what's going on, if that
I
makes
think,
sense with me. you
you know,
know
I always, it's so funny. I'm glad you brought this up because my friend Al said something to me yesterday. Give me 1 second. I'm posting this. Um, CDEVS67. Hi, how are you? Thank you for joining us on Instagram. We appreciate your interaction. We love it. So if any of this interests you, feel free to uh share your thoughts. We love engagement. But anyway, the whole point is I totally lost what my point was. What was the question? Oh,
no, you were
I
talking
got it. I
about
got
like
it.
Al. Yeah.
So Al yesterday and Nana, they often say, it's not that I'm bragging, it's not that I think I'm better. Nana's like, I'm just a regular dude. That's all fine and well, guys. Like, here's the thing, I don't think I'm better than anybody. I really don't. Right? I am just as messy. I am just as like confused at times, or frustrated at times, or wanting to punch something at times, person as anybody else. But I
Thank
also
you.
know that
That's
I
that's
am.
exactly that's
But
exactly what I wanted to say.
but I also know that I show up every day and I do the work. And that my experience is one that is both means nothing and is also limitless. It also has the ability to inspire. And I don't dismiss that, because I think, for me, my experience, I went through what I went through because I agreed to do it, to hopefully inspire and encourage another individual to question their experience and give themselves permission to potentially have a different one. That's it. And I don't dismiss that work, because I know damn sure it took me going through the depths of hell and pulling myself up off the bootstraps millions of times to be able to sit here right now and say that truthfully. And so I both honor myself and recognize that I am no better than anybody else, if that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. And this is why the reason I wanted to bring it up, that to because my point was exactly the same. Like I put my pants on one leg at a time, like anybody else. There's nothing different about me or you, or we're all coming from the same source. Let's put it
Yeah.
that
Well, and
way.
that's the
Yeah.
thing is, anybody who really does this work recognizes, right? Like, and everybody who knows me for any amount of time knows I love David R. Hawkins, but great thought leaders will tell you, once you've gone through like awakening or being enlightened, whatever that means, you still waking up and cooking meals, you still shitting, you still bleeding, you're
Yep.
still taking care of kids, you're still interacting with other people. And so it doesn't make you any better, it just makes you more aware that at the end of the day,
Yep.
it's not meant to be so serious.
Yep. Like the saying goes, split wood, carry water. That's what they say.
Yep.
Before awakening, split wood, carry water. After awakening, split wood, carry water. It's the same thing. But what it's not the same, it's the perspective and how you see the world. Your
Boom.
perspective changes 100, not 100, 360 degrees. It's like you're flipped all around. And I don't know. I think, and I don't know if that applies to other people. Maybe it does. But, sometimes you have to have time in life, or at least in this lifetime, you have to have time to experience the one end, and then when it gets kind of like monotonous and kind of the same, you have to something flips, and then life changes totally, and you have to have the same life but differently. Totally different experience.
Well, that's why I think I really believe I've lived several lifetimes in my lifetime. I really do. I've gone through so many it's so funny. I was at my best friend's house yesterday and we were literally talking about sex and we were talking about all like these encounters we've had. And I mean, hell, I was a crazy, crazy, crazy teenager because I actually use sex as a way to find love. And so I was thinking about this experience and I'm telling her, and as I'm driving home with my girls from Boston because they were at a military ball, I was thinking, whole I have lived so many lives. Like to think about who that person was and doing some of the wildly crazy things I was sharing with Lindsay that I did to who I am now. Like that's the continuous death of the ego. And that's why I tell people like the idea of being afraid of change baffles me. It blows my mind because we are constantly shedding cells. We are constantly changing our experiences by the clothes we change, the food we eat, the partners we engage with, right? Our children are growing and expanding. And so change to me is ever present and change is the death, life and rebirth cycle all the time. And that's, and when you come from this perspective of curiosity and openness, you like what you experience is just monumentally and vastly more expansive than what you experience if you come from a place of fear that things are going to change.
Yep, 100%, 100%. That, and again, flip flopping between the lows and highs, get you in that, and you get the perspective. And
What's
I won't
interesting
say that
because
it's, I
go ahead.
won't, and I won't even, and I won't even say that it's a awakening. It's more of a remembrance. You
Mm.
forgot, and all of a sudden, you remember. You're like almost like forgetting your keys, and all of a sudden you have this like, how did I forget this, like, or how did I not notice that, like, how was I so into whatever I was doing at that point that I didn't even notice that about myself. And it's kind of like, oh, now I remember, I forgot.
It's
Yeah.
interesting. My brother-in-law came across pictures of my parents' wedding, and they got married when I was 6 months old. And, in those pictures were layered, pictures of me as a toddler, like maybe 2 or 3. And I looked at them from very objective perspective because I don't remember my formative years very well, right? And I looked at this child and I'm like, "Oh my god, I was filled with life." Like, you just see this twinkle of curiosity and, like, this, like, I don't know, mystery in my eyes. I'm like, "That's who I am now." And I really have remembered that I don't like and it's so interesting because right before we came on, you were telling me about how your son takes lemons and oranges and he's in the kitchen playing and I'm like, "Well, he's a kid, what do you expect?" And that is how I experience life now, right? Like, I don't assume I know how Nana's gonna show up. My children are in 2 other rooms right now. I don't know if they've woken up and they're feeling joyful or if they're frustrated or over what I have no idea. And because I don't assume I know, I get to have this new experience all the time with the people that are in my life regularly. It also, because I don't assume I know, opens me up to new possibilities and experiences, right? If I had this preconceived notion about people who do pole dancing, I could have easily missed an opportunity to see this beautiful craft unfold and the hard work and dedication that these individuals put into making this performance, right? So I love just being able to experience life in the present moment without this need to know how things are going to unfold or need to control how it looks or feels or um makes me feel in any given moment, you know?
Right. I would say because your perspective changes, in situation. Um, and it could be the same situation, but I'll give you an example with me. Like I can be in a situation when I've been in the same situation before with the same person, and but because I perceive it as like oh my god, like something new, and I act like it's something new, then they got kind of like, what's wrong with you? Why are you so excited about this?
Yeah.
Because it's like it's not the same, but to something that you've done many times, and you condition your brain to think that is the same, then your perspective is different. I have one perspective, you have different perspective, and then it's kind of like the two are not going together.
Well, that's why I also think it's important to be okay with shedding people. And it's not that you're better than them or they're wrong or you're right or whatever. It's that your perspectives change. I'll tell you right now, some of the people I grew up with in my immediate family, I have nothing in common with them. You stick me in a room with them and I don't even have a conversation with them because there's no, I mean, I do have commonality in that we're blood related. I do have common, but our perspectives is so vastly unaligned that I just don't engage because it doesn't serve me. So I don't put myself in situations where I am that out of perspective with other people.
Yeah, yeah. No, that happens. I understand that too. It just feels awkward. You just kind of sit and you feel it, and they feel it, and the
Yeah,
the thing
it's
is
like,
not there.
yep, totally. And that, well, you know what my favorite thing is? I'll leave the listening audience with this, right? Because I know our time's coming up. My favorite thing is when I feel something's off and I have verbal diarrhea of the mouth. Like there has never been, I don't think in my whole life, an experience where people didn't know what I was thinking. Cause I just take me or leave me, but I usually say, so I put words to it and I'm like, wow, like this feels really uncomfortable. And people deadpan look at me, oh, everything's fine. I'm fine. And I'm like,
Of
what?
course, of
Like
course.
I
I'm
know
fine.
full well this it
Are
feels
you
so
fine?
awkward.
Are you fine? I'm fine. Are you fine? Yeah, everything is fine.
And I'm
But it's
just like,
not.
no, yeah, yeah.
But it's
Like
not.
that's why, for me, and this is just I was given misinformation most of my life, and it was based on what the adults in my family were taught and stuff. So I will not engage with people who will just placate me anymore. Like if you're mad at me and you can say, "Kerri, you really pissed me off. I love you so much." I'm like, "Yeah." Because that to me, that that's real. Like that's true. And I'm a human, so the reality is I'm going to tick people off, my kids. Nana, like, that's just but for somebody to be like, "No, I'm fine." I'm like, "That doesn't even feel safe for me." Like, now I can make myself feel safe anywhere, but for a long time, that didn't feel safe for me, so I'm like, "Oh, I'm not interested in engaging with people who can't keep it real with me," which is why I don't engage with a lot of people. And to Nana's point yesterday, Nana catches heat sometimes at his job because people say that he's very standoffish and stuff. But he's like me. It's not that he thinks he's better than people. He's just not interested in superficial, like, falsities. He doesn't want to engage with people who just show up in that superficial nicety. It's like, I'd rather you tell me I can't stand you than sit there and, "Oh, I'm great," and then, like, energetically, they just despise you with their whole being.
But that's okay. Everyone is entitled to their opinion and to their express,
For sure.
So
100%.
I don't even like, I don't even like, even if they tell me like, mm, I don't like you or whatever, I'm like, fine, thank you. you
But I
know.
love that. Like, I love that. I love when people say, "I don't like you." Cool. I know where I stand with you. That to me, I respect that. That's amazing. I'm not interested in bullshit. I just am not. I'm just like, if I can take a shovel and pile that out, you and me aren't probably going to engage with each other really. But anyway, this was an interesting conversation, Yanko, for
That was
episode
interesting
59.
episode. Yeah, we got to think about how to make the 60, the big 60.
What if I shave my head on camera? No, I'm not going to do
Um,
that. I really like my hair right now. In fact, I'm going to bleach it. I want to bleach it. The
uh,
dark's coming in.
I was gonna say, you probably do it because you already done it once, not on camera though.
No, I
but
don't know what I would do. We'll
well,
figure it out. Who kno maybe I can actually
we'll
get Nana to come join us next week. I'll be like,
that
"Baby."
that'll be so awesome.
I know.
You
We'll
know,
see. But Nana is so locked in. He got goals. He's
the
chasing what
dream.
brings him joy. And I
Yep.
love that so much for him. That's why he's my person because we are so uniquely different and yet so aligned. It's amazing. And that's what I want for people. I'm like, oh my God, if I could just bottle up.
But see, that's
It's
an
just,
example of like somebody working out though. Like even things are opposite to each other, they can still work out,
oh yeah,
just perfect,
yeah,
and a
yep.
lot of people just say no, we're just like different. um,
But it's so like it's you just I mean, literally the other day, Yanko, I'm not even kidding you. Nana's next to me and he told me he got me Kendrick Lamar tickets and like whatever. And I'm like freaking out. I'm like, oh like this. I'm like, ah! Like, but that is the best way to describe how I feel in our connection, And I know he feels it too. Like he'll walk through the gym and see me and like it's just like anyway, I love it.
Wonderful.
So maybe we'll get him on. Until next time, guys, thank you for our rambling or showing up for our random musings. If you're interested in being on the show, Yanko and I love, love, love to engage with people. I mean, it's not just the Kerri and Yanko show, it's for no particular reason. So let us know and come join the party.
Yeah, join us. We'll love to have you, talk about different things. And
Yeah,
we'll also love to engage with our audience. I would say it again, if anybody wants to contact us, shoot us an email, comment, anything, we'll love to hear from you. That'll be really awesome. So thank you
cool
all.
beans. Until next
Until
time.
next Friday. Bye.